No cannibalism.
Tom is lying.
Welcome everybody to another episode of Zen Pop. My name's Todd.
Mrs. Kathy.
Sweetie, tell me why we're doing a Zen Pop on Widow's Bay, which is a show that's on Apple TV that came out in late April, and here we are in July. Help everybody understand why this is important.
Well, we are actually in the middle of summer blockbuster month or summer blockbuster summer. Summer, that's redundant, but you guys know what I mean.
Redundant woman.
We're doing summer blockbusters. But then we took a quick break last week because we did the family movie draft with our girls. And I thought as long as we took that break, let's also focus on a TV show. Let's just throw it in the middle because
You want to know why? Because we are the committee.
we are the committee. We decide these things. And Zen Pop, it really is about movies, TV, and music. But the majority of the time, we focus on a movie just because it makes the most sense as kind of the backbone of every show. But this show, sometimes shows come along that John and I've watched a lot of good shows. I absolutely adored Hacks, and I loved
Surprised
it.
we didn't do one on Hacks.
I know, and maybe
We
for the
will.
future we will. And I loved the end and the finale. And there's other shows we've loved, but there's something about Widow's Bay that captures everything that I love all in one show. It kind of reminded me. We haven't even talked about this yet, but it kind of reminded me of Mike Flanagan's work. And there's actually some homages to Mike Flanagan's work because that's like Midnight Mass, Bly Manor, and
Haunting of Hill House.
And we really loved those too because the layers that they had were depth, horror, and like a purpose. Like there was something that it was teaching. There was something that it was showing us about our culture or about us as human beings, which is exactly what we like to talk about on the show. So Widow's Bay, I would say the two sensibilities that it really has are it's scary and it's also funny.
Which is
weird.
I can't think. So first of all, let me just be clear.
Yeah.
I loved Widow's Bay.
Yeah.
If you're going to give me Widow's Bay or any of the big three from Mike Flanagan, give me Mike Flanagan all day.
Okay.
Because I
So
just
that still
hold
wins.
those in such high regard.
Mhm.
But Mike Flanagan doesn't do comedy. There's
Right.
some funny stuff in this, and it's subtle funny. It's not like they're purposely made. I don't know how to explain it, but I've never seen any filmmaker or TV maker blend horror and comedy. Maybe I'm missing out, but are we missing anything?
Oh, I'm sure there's been shows, but not the kind of horror we're talking about is not like there's a show on CBS called Ghosts, and there's like people try and kind of do humor with jump scares, but this is like truly like has some horror things. It like really scary, and to put humor over something that feels like life or death can feel off, but for some reason it doesn't. So it's a 10 episode horror comedy series. As Todd said, it started in April and the season finale was in June. So we're a little behind. We started watching a little late, but it's already been renewed for a second season. So this is what I think, Todd. I don't want to give away the biggest twists and turns on this show, like the mysteries of the island. Sounds like we're talking about Lost, and there's a lot of lost homages as well. But I don't want to give that away. But I do want to talk about the characters and the things they're pulling from.
Sounds
Does that
great.
sound fair?
Yeah, and I think so. I guess I want to just forewarn people who don't want to. I mean,
if you want to know nothing,
then listen to this after.
Yeah.
But we're not going to spoil anything for you. We're just going to set it up.
And if you are debating on watching it, this might be a good listen.
I think this will be a good thing. By the way, I just kind of did a list of movies or TV that blend humor and horror.
Okay.
Shaun of the Dead, never seen that.
Okay, yeah.
Have you seen that?
No, but I know it's a zombie movie, and I think the guy who did it also did. Is that right? Am I mixing up people?
I don't know.
But I feel like whoever directed it.
Cabin in the Woods. We watched that a long time ago.
I didn't think that was funny.
I don't remember it being funny. I remember it being kind of cool and scary.
And gross.
Evil Dead 2, no idea. Scream. No, not the way this show does. What We Do in the Shadows.
Oh, there we go.
Very funny, not scary.
I mean, there's horror,
No,
They kill people.
I know, but
Remember the
it's
bear?
all done through the
He
lens
grows
of
up.
it's all, it's all done through the lens of comedy. Whereas this is like
Actually
more
scary.
scary. Like there's some really really scary stuff going on,
Mm-hmm.
and all the humor is just kind of nuanced and funny and done really well. That's
Yeah, it's subtle.
yeah.
It's subtle. So again, I'm just glad it's coming back for a second season. I'm not surprised at all because they left it in a place where you're like, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? But just a little, I don't know, Todd, did you want to start with a little bit of the background or do you want me to just go and you add?
I will just kind of set the scene,
Okay,
even
please
though we're
do.
not going to do our characters. Um,
What do you mean our characters?
I mean our categories,
Okay, we'll do them kind of.
kind of.
Because I have set the scene, random facts, WTF.
So Tom Loftus, played by Matthew Rhys,
Uh huh.
is the mayor of Widow's Bay,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a sleepy, cursed New England island. His whole dream,
Well, and at the beginning, he's saying it's not cursed, FYI.
right?
Yeah.
And he's like running around like a chicken with his head cut off, trying to, with his anxiety, telling people not to be anxious. It's quite funny. His whole dream is to turn it into the next Martha's Vineyard,
Mhm.
cappuccino drinking tourist, and there's a New York Times write up, and it works.
Yeah.
He gets his wish, and then the fog rolls in, and things get bad.
Yes.
That's it. That's my setup.
That's good. So on that note, this was written, or the showrunner of this is a woman named Katie Dippold, and she
The
also
Dips.
the Dips. She also wrote Ghostbusters,
Oh wow.
the women's version, and The Heat, which was I think Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy. Is
Yeah,
that
I
right?
think you're right.
And so, one thing, an article that I read about her, she said that she'd had this show in her mind for like 20 years. And she almost like sold a version of it to Amazon
Mm-hmm.
for them to do, but it was like 2013. But she said she had this bad feeling and she didn't feel like she had it fleshed out enough yet. She's like, I don't really know this world well enough yet, so I'm not going to sell it yet,
Yeah.
which I think is pretty admirable. I cannot. The director's name is Hiro Murai, I think.
He did 5 of them.
Okay, good. But he is a horror movie director.
Yeah, he's like an expert horror guy.
Yeah. So you can tell, like he did the movie like Maxine. I think there's like a trilogy of movies, horror movies, and they're women's names. I know Maxine is one of them. And he is one of the directors and the executive producer of the show. So you can kind of feel that in the way it's being filmed,
Sure.
that somebody knows what they're doing. So the other part of understanding Katie Dippold is that she was a writer on Parks and Rec. So that really kind of makes some connections right there because the person that Todd just referred to, Tom Loftus, he is the mayor of the town, and the other characters also work for the government with him.
Quasi government, not quasi. It's a governmental entity in this kind of sleepy New England island.
Yeah, it's their legislative body. It's the people who are making the decisions for the island. So really, you've got his staff. So it's kind of like a Parks and Rec staff. And then you've got like the people who have lived there the longest who know the lore and believe,
that this island is cursed.
That it is indeed cursed. And some people are bothered by it and some people aren't.
Yeah.
Like, I think one of the funny things is there's this, I can't remember which episode it is, but Jerry, who runs the museum, she's just like, tells it like it is. She's like, and then we, burned the witches, and then there was cannibalism. Like, there's such an acceptance of the way that this island is run. And then someone like Wick, his character is more like terrified of what could happen. So you've got, lots of different, and then you've got the people who live on the island who for many reasons that you come to find out, but they've never left. So it's got that small town gossipy, everybody knows everyone's business. So I really kind of felt that Parks and Rec kind of sensibility, And also, we'll just say that the mayor, Tom Loftus, is played by Matthew Rhys, who I'll say we love. I know I love, you love as well.
Oh my God. He is really, really good in this role.
Yes.
Like, it's not easy. The facial expressions that he needs to get creative ways on how to look scared.
Yes.
And do it in a way where it seems realistic, but he's not doing the same thing every time. He's just a very good actor.
Yes. And there is one episode that is very focused on him. And, I won't get into why this happens, but taking a psychedelic. And every scene, he kind of has to have a whole different perspective. And like you said, it's kind of part terror, part overwhelm, and or whatever you feel when you're on a psychedelic. And I thought that was a really good episode
For
for him.
sure.
And then there's some, breakout characters, people who I had never seen before who are really good. I mean, we know that Dale is in Somebody Somewhere.
Mm.
Joel Heller, I think his name is,
Yep.
right? So he kind of had a big, he won an Emmy last year. And so it's really fun to see him in another show. And then Wick, he's in, is he the guy in Office Space with the
Yes,
stapler?
he's in a bunch of things.
Yeah,
he was
he's-
in News Radio.
Yes.
He's a very accomplished actor. And
Stephen Root, yeah.
Stephen Root, but I don't remember exactly what his other big stuff is.
Yeah, me neither. And then
I can find out.
Kate O'Flynn is probably my favorite character.
Patricia.
We'll talk a lot about her, but she's my favorite as far as following her story. And then very exciting for us was that Hamish Linklater was in 2 of the episodes, and he is an actor who is also in Midnight Mass, who's a really important kind of scary, well, that's debatable, scary character in a historical figure in the for the island. But it was just fun to see these people pop up, that's another interesting thing about a show, especially an Apple TV show, because what I know about Apple TV is the reason the shows on that network are so, who end up getting nominated for Emmys and such, is because they give them a lot of money. So they have more money to make a show. There's more trust in establishing their world. Like, I think you probably listened to this podcast with me, and they were talking about how to do the standalone historical episode, which was, I think, number 6 or 7. The amount of money that costs to do that one episode can be similar to what another show would get for an entire season.
Yeah.
So again, you can feel that, which is why it's fun to watch Apple TV shows. So anything else you want to say about setting the scene, about where it's located?
Nope.
I think it's Massachusetts, right?
That's somewhere out there. Who knows?
Yeah.
They talk about
East
going to
Coast.
Red Sox games and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
yes.
no, go ahead.
Okay, so just a few things that I found is that it has a 98% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know how much that means to you, Todd, but that's pretty good. And a lot of the reviews are like 5 out of 5. And somebody described it as Mayor of Easttown meets Schitt's Creek.
I saw that.
Did you?
I did.
I love that because I loved Mayor of Easttown.
Do you know what the highest rated episode was, sweetie?
I bet I'm gonna guess that it's Sunset Cocktails.
Yes, it's called Beach Reads, which is the Sunset Cocktails one. So yeah, and then second highest episode is Your Baggage. That's the Boogeyman one.
And that's my second favorite.
Yeah.
So that's exactly how I rate it. And both of them, Patricia is the lead of it. Everybody else is in it, but it's about her.
Not that I would ever want to watch it, but each episode kind of feels like it can be its own little Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah.
Like you can jump in the 6th episode and be super entertained.
Story. Yep.
So anyways.
What did they call those on the podcast? Bottle episodes?
I don't know.
I think it's like there are a lot of shows that will do a standalone or a bottle episode, but they often do it at the end, kind of like, okay, now you can get the lore. Yeah. Or they do it at the very beginning to set the scene.
It up. They do this in the middle.
And they do this in the middle. And so I think that's really interesting, and it allows you to kind of integrate it a little better, because then you can go on and pull more information, rather than just get all the mystery given to you right there.
Right.
You can actually continue the mystery, and now you've, added to your information. And, Todd, we didn't even discuss this, but when Dale, and again, I want to be real careful.
Yeah.
But there is a scene where Dale is watching a bunch of videotapes where he's kind of learning about some more
lore.
cultish, version of people on the island, and that was so Dharma Initiative.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a lot of similarities between many of the horror or thriller things that we have grown up with.
Yeah, and Dharma Initiatives from the show Lost,
Yeah.
which was, because even the videotapes, they're like kind of, not, they're old and you can tell that they haven't been watched for a long time.
I'm going to intermittently play a few. Now, this is probably for Kathy and I, and maybe not. Or if you've seen the show,
Uh-huh.
but I just strung together a few funny quotes
Okay, go
from
ahead.
the movie
Go
or
ahead.
from the show. And it's easier to watch it versus listen to it, but I'm going to do it anyways. Let's see what happens. Just sip it. Oh, I got the wrong output. I'm going to have to fix that.
Do you?
There it is.
Oh.
Let's try it again. Take two, everybody.
Who is that? Rosemary?
All right. So that's not going to be funny to anybody unless you've seen the show. But each one of those moments is pretty funny. And I got a lot more, and I don't know if I want to play them just because it may not serve the listener. But anyways.
Okay, so a few things that I want to share is that I'll just kind of again set the scene for people who are listening who may want to dive in. I'm just going to tell you the basics that you could get in any description. Okay, so the origin of this island is that there was a man named Richard Warren who came to the island, and it was like 1702 or something like that, and he had this experience. Where he made a deal, some kind of pact that he had to fulfill that is threatening to people who live there. But the reason he fulfilled that pact was because for a certain long period of time they could live with abundance. So it's kind of like a devil's pact, right?
Making a deal with the devil.
Making a deal with the devil. And one thing that we find out very early, like in the first episode or first or second, is that people can't, the rumor is, when the news reporter comes, he said, I've heard that people can't leave the island.
It's in the trailer, so you're not giving anything away.
Yeah, like that they die if they leave the island. So that's a big part of it too. And just the fact that, and again, we can connect this to another horror film, Tom, who is the mayor, who has a son, and his wife has passed, and that's a whole story in itself. He wants to believe that these things are not true, and it's very like Jaws, the movie Jaws. The man, who is it, the sheriff, who doesn't believe that the shark is going to eat anybody. It's like this,
keep the beaches open.
Keep the beaches open. We're fine. Let's have someone from the New York Times come to our island, write about it, so we get an influx of people to come in and make the island more prosperous. And once we really get to know Tom, he's really doing it for his son. He's trying to get younger people on the island. He's trying to because really it's just a small group of people who live there. So that's kind of the premise. And this is what I'll say is I would love to go back and watch the first episode again, and we probably will at some point, maybe before season 2 comes out. Because I was, and this is just me, I was a little underwhelmed by the first episode.
Me too. I'm like, maybe we'll stick with it.
Yeah, we were I wasn't bored. I was just like, I don't know what people are talking about.
There's so many shows out there that you want to try out. I'm just like, whatever. So if you are listening, if you try the first one and you're like, meh, give it a few more, see what happens.
Yeah, like I kind of was like, people who know me were like, Kathy, I can't believe you haven't seen this, which pushed me to watch the second one. And then I feel like from then on, I was in, and I was like, okay, now I get it. So Todd, one place I did want to go, and I don't know if this is okay with you, but I wanted to go to Stephen King comparisons.
Of course.
So one thing that Katie Dippold, who wrote this, she really had a Stephen King kind of a vibe in mind the whole time.
Yeah, he's kind of the king, right?
Yeah,
King
literally.
Is the king.
He literally is. I feel like he is our cultural literacy around what horror is.
Yeah.
Like his books are the basis of, it's kind of like Freud, in therapy.
He inspired everybody else. The way
Exactly.
Hitchcock did 50 years ago.
Correct.
Stephen King's our guy.
Exactly. And so just right there off the bat, that's why it's in Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Because that's where everything
Sure.
is for Stephen King. So, it's kind of got his atmosphere. So the first one, and again, I'm going to say these to you, and then you tell me if you believe this to be true.
Okay.
The first one is Salem's Lot. Did you watch Salem's Lot?
No.
Okay, well, Midnight Mass is very similar to Salem's Lot, if
Okay.
that helps you understand what happens in Salem's Lot.
Okay.
Okay, so it's, and again, Mike Flanagan was also inspired by Salem's Lot.
Mm-hmm.
So again, it brings a lot of this, isolated communities, supernatural secret, kind of an infestation, slow rotting within the town. Widow's Bay has a lighter kind of vibe around it. You're not as terrified as you are in Salem's Lot.
Mm-hmm.
And in Midnight Mass, I will tell you that I have not seen Salem's Lot forever, and I'm almost positive they eventually put it on TV, which is a problem.
How do you do that, right?
But there is a scene where this kid is in bed, and a child who is a vampire comes to the window and is like, "Come out and get me! Come out!" Like,
come and play with me.
Come and play with me, kind of thing. And I'll never forget it.
No.
Like, I will never forget the terror of somebody coming. So my bedroom growing up, Todd, do you remember my room?
Vaguely.
From DeKalb? I had two really big windows, big enough that you could walk
facing
in and out
the front
of
the house.
Correct.
Yeah, right.
So I very much would sometimes put my bed in a space where I wouldn't have to stare at the windows.
Because of Salem's Lot.
Yeah. It really bothered me.
You're just keeping yourself safe from all the bad guys in DeKalb, Illinois, sweetie.
My sister and I had a conversation a while ago, and we talked about how we don't have our foot go off the bed because the monster will grab it.
Interesting.
Still. And then we talked about...
I don't put my foot on the edge of the bed either, because I like my foot on the bed when I'm sleeping.
I know, but when sometimes you need to cool your feet off when you're in menopause?
I can imagine.
Yeah. So you don't have to experience that, but we do.
Yeah.
And you get really hot, and you got to get your feet out, but then the monster might grab you.
Yeah, and we don't want that. Does that happen in Poltergeist?
A
lot of under the bed stuff.
Well, there's a clown.
I know that, but I feel like there is some things that happened under the bed.
Well, I think the clown pulls him under.
Oh,
right?
There you go. I don't know.
The two things that get that kid with what was his name? It's probably Billy or something. There's Carol Ann. Anyway, he gets got by the tree and by the clown.
Yeah.
Or no. Is that right?
I don't know.
Oh, you're just following along. With
Yeah.
me. I thought you were like
you are the
joining
queen of horror movies, especially Poltergeist. So I am going to be less of a reference than you are.
Well,
sweetie.
I'm pretty sure that's what. And
I know the tree was a big deal.
The tree was a big deal.
I don't remember it.
And remember what terrified me in that movie is remember his dad told him to count.
Yeah.
And
the thunder and the lightning and all that. Yeah.
But it got closer.
Craig T. Nelson.
Yeah. But he's like, this isn't working, Dad. Okay. So this is kind of an interesting theory about this show. Somebody, and I wish I could, it's from Rolling Stone. Rolling Stone magazine said that this show, Widow's Bay, is a mixtape of Stephen King's work. So it's like, like riffs on, different things without diving completely in. Instead of doing a complete homage. Like, for example, there is an episode that they are at the inn, the only inn on the island, and it's very Shining coded.
Yeah.
It's everything in it is The Shining.
Yeah.
Even though I also read, Todd, that remember there is a part when they find black mold.
Yeah. That's a little haunting, or is that Midnight? It's haunting.
It's both Haunting of Hill House and The Shining.
Yeah.
Like it's a total mixtape because they're like bringing in
a lot of tipping of the cap.
Correct. And that is also where there is a clown who shows up.
Yeah.
And he is very Pennywise.
Yeah, very much
from
so.
It.
Yeah.
So there's a lot happening. I love the mixtape analogy because it kind of, so instead of going in and being like, well, what are they referencing here? All of the above.
Yeah.
And then there's also, some John Carpenter and Jaws. Like there's definitely some, we'll get into the boogeyman stuff later, which is very, Michael Myers coded, but then the Jaws stuff with Tom about how he's trying to protect this island, and even has a scene where he like jumps in the water to swim out, and is holding on to not the buoy, what's it called, that light fixture, and it's very from Jaws, you know what I mean, same kind of scene, same kind of shot. So those are just a few things. There's more. I'm going to get into all the movies, but that's just some of the basics.
Sure.
So anything you want to say? Who's your favorite in this show? Like anything you want to say about the cast?
I think Matthew Rhys does an incredible job. A few of the older women are funny.
Yeah,
Rosemary's fun. And I didn't like Wick in the beginning, and then as the season went on, I liked Wick more and more.
Well, and he becomes a more important, like, he's kind of the shows that have somebody who's like the town drunk or, the one who's the conspiracy theorist. Yeah. Everyone thinks they're like crazy. Right. But actually, he's the one with the most information.
Yeah, like we should listen to this dude.
And he cares about the people. Like he has a relationship that he had earlier on the island, and and he has lots of stories about people who have been harmed. So there's a priest who is part of the show, and he is, we always have to have a priest. We have to think exorcist, and we have to think Omen, Damien Omen. Like there's anytime you bring in a priest who like knows that something evil is happening, right, and may have to do some sacrificing of their own, that's very Omen and Damien Omen to me. Did you watch The Omen and Damien? So you've never seen those movies?
No.
Do you understand what happens though in those movies?
A demon possesses a kid.
No.
Oh, no, that I don't.
No, Damien is the devil's child. So Damien was born of the devil and a jackal.
The devil had sex with a jackal?
Well, you're being too literal, right?
If I can count the amount of times you tell me on the show I'm being too literal, I would be a rich man.
Well, because in literature or in movies you've got to kind of take it, we're like, well, this is the way things happen, but couldn't there be another level of like imposing on, like putting...
If I'm a jackal, I'm upset. Be like, why couldn't you have picked a wolf or a lion?
You want to know why it sucks? Because I watched The Omen and Damien Omen way too early, which means I always thought jackals were scary.
Right. Well, jackals are kind of aggressive. They work in packs and they can kill lions.
Really?
Yeah, strength in numbers.
I wonder. So anyway.
But I think hyenas are worse than jackals. I think hyenas, because they got that loud, high-pitched noise that sounds like a laugh.
Where do jackals live?
Naperville.
No, they don't.
I'm just making that up. I have no idea.
But do they live in forests?
Naperville.
Well, coyotes
the
live
jungle, Africa. I don't know.
Well,
the Sahara.
Different places.
I'm guessing jackals live in a lot of different places.
Okay.
But I'll do a little research and get back to you.
And I will finish up this conversation about
this is important.
So I was kind of obsessed with this whole thing because what The Omen did is it I was going to church at the time. I was getting confirmed in my Methodist church, but I got really obsessed with Revelations in the Bible because the movie takes the story from Revelations, and it's about that a child will be born, and then that it's the bad child or the bad seed or whatever, because on their scalp they have the number 666. So it means they are the child of the devil.
Jackals, it turns out, are not from Naperville.
Good.
They're from Africa, Europe, and Asia.
Okay. Well, then you're kind of right. They're in a lot of different places.
Sure.
But at least they're not going to be coming to our door like that coyote did one time.
Yes, I remember
and
that.
Todd didn't believe me.
I did.
I said, Todd, there's a coyote going down the street. He goes, no, you're wrong. It's a dog.
Yeah.
So you can understand why I argue with him on the show sometimes, because sometimes I am right. Sometimes I'm like, Todd, there's cars that are stopping. Maybe you should brake.
Yeah.
And he's like, I was going to brake.
And I would be like, if you want to be a backseat driver, get in the back seat, because right now you're a front seat driver.
But what if I am
one out of 50 times you tell me something useful?
Well, that would be helpful.
The other 49, not so much.
Well, the other 49, I'm not always saying something. I'm just bracing a little bit. Like, hey, just giving you some body signs that, like, there's all of a sudden everyone's brake lights are going on. Do you know that? Can you tell? There was a time you weren't going to get off on 294, and I said, where are you going? And you go, oh, whoops.
Yeah. Yeah, 1 out of 50, babe. You're right, 1 out of 50 times.
Anyway, I'm going to go back to this. Let's talk about Should we talk about my favorite episode? No, no, no. This is what we're going to do.
Are we going to go through all 10?
Yes.
Okay.
But
just so you know, we're 30 minutes in.
It is going to be so quick.
Right.
Don't even worry.
No problem.
My first thing is I'm going to talk about the other movie references. You know, I talked about the Stephen King overview, but these are the other confirmed movie references. Okay. So this has been confirmed by the writers and, you know, interviews they've done, etc.
Yep.
So the first one that this show is referencing is Carrie, which is a Stephen King. It was his first book. It was a movie, Sissy Spacek, 1976. Being bullied by her town. She had supernatural powers. Her mom was afraid of her. You remember that whole thing?
I remember the very end. That's all I remember. I don't even know if I've seen that movie aside from the last 10 minutes.
So and you know what happens in the last 10 minutes, that the shocking moment when
they dump the pig's blood on her.
Right, but then her mom goes to her grave and her hand comes up.
Yeah, the hand. Yes, I remember watching that a lot.
Yes. So I thought in one of these episodes it was so Carrie coded that I thought for sure the pig's blood was going to happen. And if you remember correctly, there was something available to make that happen.
You can spoil Carrie, sweetie. Are we talking about Widow's Bay right now, or Carrie?
I'm talking about Widow's Bay on top of Carrie.
Okay, I missed that.
So what I'm saying is there was an episode that was very Carrie coded.
Yes.
And I thought for sure that was going to get dumped on her.
Yes.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
I don't.
The punch?
Yes, I remember.
I thought that was going to be dumped on her.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
that would have been in line.
Yeah,
with the energy of the episode.
Correct. That's what I thought.
And they kept you on your toes.
It did, and we'll get to that episode in a second. But then there's another movie called The Wicker Man, which is so this is interesting. This movie's from 1973. And I really remember The Wicker Man being referenced for the show Yellow Jackets.
Wait a second. The Wicker Man is a movie?
Yes.
Oh, never heard of it.
It's like, for example, the tiara that is actually antlers.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's from The Wicker Man, which is also from the show Yellow Jackets.
Remember that?
Yeah. We watched.
So
there's, I don't know who pulled from what, but that's something very specific. The Shining, we already talked about. The captain's suite that is, What was the number in The Shining?
I know.
The door. I always want to say 227, but that was the show with Marla Gibbs.
I don't know. I'll look it up.
Okay. And then, of course, the movie It, with, the Pennywise the clown. That guy's pretty creepy. The clown lives in the crawl space. Okay. And then if you guys listened to the podcast last week about our draft picks for, our family did draft picks of our favorite movies. Yeah. This was 227.
So, was this a spin-off of The Jeffersons?
Correct.
No?
Was it a spin-off?
So, did Marla Gibbs play the same character?
Well, that's what I'm wondering, is we'd have to figure out if that was her name.
Oh, I don't know.
Mr. Jefferson, what was her name?
Wheezy?
No, Wheezy was his wife.
Florence?
No, Florence, was that her name?
Flo? Vera?
That's Alice. That's a different show. Going the wrong way. You're going the wrong way. How do they know where we're going?
How would they know where we're going?
Okay, so...
Thank you. Thanks a lot. Terrific.
Last week, I said that Halloween is my favorite horror movie. So there is a whole Michael Myers plot in this show. Obviously, his name is not Michael Myers, but it is the Boogeyman. That's what they call him in the show. So
237. In the movie, it's 237. The novel is 217. That makes sense. The Stanley Kubrick's classic 1980 movie.
Why would Stanley Kubrick change that? Why would he take the book and make it a different number?
I don't know.
Stephen King did not like that movie.
He did not.
The Shining.
Yeah.
Obviously the book is famous and it's about him.
Yeah.
It's a little autobiographical, as Misery is as well. But he did not like Stanley Kubrick's movie, which is so crazy because it's so famous.
Yeah.
And
he doesn't buy into the fame. He buys into whether or not he liked it or not. Kind of dig that dude.
And who in our family movie draft chose The Shining? Was it JC?
Yeah, I think it was JC.
Yeah, I think it was too. Okay, so there is Halloween. So the Boogeyman is being referenced. Psycho. This is interesting, Todd. The Breakwater Inn.
Oh, sorry about that.
Which is the inn on the island. The exterior is an homage to the Bates house, Norman Bates's house. So they wanted to create kind of the odd rooftop look. You know what I mean? So I thought that was good. We already talked about Jaws. That's what they're referencing because Tom's denial of what's going on in the island. And then the X-Files. Yeah. Did you see that? Did you watch the X-Files?
No. Sweetie, I'm not a good reference person for all this stuff.
I know, but you should be.
I was playing Dungeons & Dragons.
But you were watching things. I know you were. You just weren't watching scary.
I was watching 227.
You were not watching 227. You were just not watching the X-Files. So the X-Files is a great show. And, you know,
Scully and Mulder.
Correct. And he's being compared to Scully. So, you know, she had the skepticism, you know, about what was happening where Mulder, am I saying that right? He eventually.
I don't know the difference between the two.
Mulder was the guy, and then I'm almost positive that's right. So, okay. So let's talk about this because this was a new word to me. This is the difference between a homage and a pastiche. Do you know what the difference is?
Now you're just making up words.
Okay. So people, you know, I've said it about 10 times here on this show. I've been talking about the Widow's Bay Zone in homage to all these shows. But the director, Hero, this guy, he said that he's pushing back on that idea. He said, this is his direct quote, "We tried not to do too many things where it was a conscious homage. What's so great about those original Stephen King pieces or his movies or John Carpenter, you know, all these things we're referencing, is they evoked a very raw feeling. We tried to reverse engineer that feeling rather than doing the exact aesthetic hallmarks of it. Yeah. And ultimately, the premise of the show is insane horror tropes are happening to boring, normal people. Yeah. So it's like, you know, instead of it being like, you know, in acceptance of like, oh yeah, a bunch of people get murdered in this town, they're kind of like, oh my God, people are getting murdered in this town. Yeah. Like, this is crazy. You know, like they're questioning it. So pastiche, this is a new word for you and for everybody listening, and for me, because I had to study this as well. It's a work that imitates the style of another artist by combining recognizable elements from multiple sources and making that something new. So I kind of feel like we, Zen Pop, are a pastiche of many different podcasts.
I've often thought of myself as a pastiche, but now this confirms it.
Well, it's not about you personally. It's about what we're doing.
That's what I meant to say. Yes. That's what we're doing. I'm not a pastiche. Zen Pop is a pastiche.
Yes, exactly.
So glad I now know what Zen Pop is.
Do you understand?
It's a pastiche.
It is.
No, it sounds like an homage. It doesn't sound like any different. It sounds like he's getting cute with words. Just call it an homage and let's move on. Not me and you, but this guy.
Okay, well, let me give you some differentiation so you understand. All right. Pastiche versus parody. Parody imitates a style to mock it, to satirize it. Pastiche imitates a style out of admiration. Okay? But they're not really trying to poke fun at it. Okay. Pastiche versus plagiarism. This is different. Pastiche is generally understood and legally it's treated as legitimate creative technique. Mm-hmm. Okay? It's imitating, but it celebrates the sources rather than trying to hide that they're doing what they're doing. Yeah. They're celebrating it. And then pastiche versus homage, these overlap a little more, like you said. It's a single reference to another work is often called an homage, while a pastiche is more of a patchwork. Do you see what I mean? It's a bunch of things.
Sounds good. I asked chat and I misspelled both pastiche and homage. That helps.
So you didn't get any further?
No, I mean, I figured it out. But yeah, I wasn't close to spelling either of these words correctly.
Well, I kind of feel like we, and I will just explain, like Zen Pop came to be because we are definitely pulling from our old podcast, which is Zen Parenting Radio. So we're like pulling from ourselves because we created a podcast 16 years ago that I actually think other people started doing something similar. And then we pulled from one of our favorite podcasts called The Rewatchables, where they talk about movies. And then we also pulled from another podcast called What They Did Wrong. Like
What Went Wrong.
We talk about a lot of things that they talk about. Then we actually pull from the entertainment world. And so what we're doing is kind of like a pastiche of self-help plus entertainment.
Yeah, we're blending self-help and entertainment.
Yeah.
Zen Parenting was more self-help with some sprinkling of pop culture.
Yeah.
And now we're doing the opposite.
Exactly. Like something I wrote last week, I said, Zen Parenting Radio, the backbone of it was self-awareness and relationships, and we added in pop culture. But now the backbone is pop culture, and we add in self-awareness and relationships. So
in this show, Widow's Bay, I would say it's 82% horror
yeah,
and 18% comedy. But that 18% comedy
I'd
is,
say 25.
let's split the middle, say it's 22 and a half.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm glad we got that percentage figured out.
Because that's the most important
I was
thing.
hoping we would figure that out today.
Okay, so the last thing we'll do is I was just going to go through each episode without spoiling all the stuff in it.
It is very hard to talk about this without spoiling. I think we're doing a good job.
I do too.
But I could see how this might be frustrating. Like, just say the thing, and we don't want to. We don't want to ruin it for you guys.
And so all I'm going to do is say in each episode what they're referencing.
Which is totally fine.
Do you think that's fair?
Of course.
Okay, so the first one, and you kind of think in your own mind when you watched it if I missed anything.
Okay.
So I think the first one, it's Jaws, right? They're talking about the town. Tom's like, it's fine, everything's fine. And it even says that the wardrobe designer, the clothes that he had them wear, referenced like that 70s kind of look from Jaws.
Yeah.
So they tried to like bring that in. They actually, this is great too. Listen this time.
Let's hear it.
Won't ruin anything. The names of the people in the town, Rosemary and Ruth, are a nod to Rosemary's Baby.
Yep.
The movie Rosemary's Baby. Do you know that movie?
No.
Okay. That's also
But Rosemary, something wrong with that baby, I think.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's also the spawn of Satan, but it's not coming from a jackal this time. Dale.
Just going to play a clip from each one.
And actually, Todd, there is a quote in the first episode that's similar to
Oh, really?
Need a Bigger Boat.
Right.
Yeah. Dale is a nod to the show Twin Peaks.
Mm-hmm.
There was a Dale on Twin Peaks. Jerry, the woman Jerry, her name comes from the movie Carrie.
Okay.
And they said that Tom may be a nod to a horror actor named Tom Atkins. And Patricia, who's my favorite, may be referencing Alfred Hitchcock's daughter, Patricia. Mm-hmm. So they're all being pulled from these areas. And then, as I said in the first episode, and I'm sure everybody knew this wasn't just a Kathy thing, but I said Patricia looks just like Shelley Duvall.
Yes.
So they made her look like Shelley Duvall in The Shining.
Yeah.
And she maintains this look through every episode.
Totally off subject comment. JC's got something in her bedroom of horror movies that she needs to see. It's like a scratch thing. And one of the movies is Fantasia. Have you seen that?
I have seen Fantasia.
It was my first like terrifying experience as like a 7-year-old kid.
And it was called a horror movie?
Yes, it is a horror movie.
Fantasia with
maybe I'm
Mickey
screwed.
Mouse?
Pretty sure it's Fantasia, but I'll double check.
Mickey Mouse.
No. Mickey Mouse was not in this horror film.
Okay, I was going to say, whoa.
But the only reason I say this is like, it might be like the dumbest horror movie ever, but I remember because it was my first experience with horror.
Got it.
And part of me wants to rewatch it to see if it's any good or if it's like the dumbest thing ever.
What year did it come
Phantasm.
out?
I think it was called Phantasm.
With a P?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, that's different. Yeah.
Have you seen Phantasm?
Mm-mm, I don't know that.
Maybe we'll check that out this weekend.
Sounds scary, though, if it's scary.
I know, but it'll be the three of us. It's going to be fun.
Okay.
Sorry about that. I broke your train of thought.
No, you didn't.
Okay.
We're going to move to episode 2, which episode 2 is focusing on The Shining.
Just laughing. I just said Fantasia.
I know, and I was like, wow. Because what I was going to say was Mickey Mouse, it's kind of a psychedelic trip, but remember the brooms? And
there's so many crazy things.
Yeah, but I was like, a horror movie.
Yeah.
Episode 2 is referring to Psycho and The Shining.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so again, it's like an homage, a pastiche.
Yeah, it's definitely a pastiche.
And then also It, the clown.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, number 3, this is more Jaws because this is the inaugural swim, and the sea hag is part of this, which is very similar to The Ring.
Mm-hmm.
If you've seen The Ring, it's kind of like you can't see her face. And the movie It Follows.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. That's what they're referencing. And there's also a bathtub scare in that one that's a little like a Nightmare on Elm Street.
Right.
But anyway, number 4, episode 4. This is my favorite, and I'm going to tell everybody that episode 4 it's called Beach Reads, but it's also people refer to it as sunset
Oh
cocktails
yeah.
because Patricia, I love this one because she runs this like library on wheels, and Patricia has no friends, but she goes to this like fair one day to get books for her library on wheels, and nobody even drops off any books for her. Nobody talks to her, but there is one book that weirdly shows up, and she tries to put it on the shelf and it won't stay on the shelf. It keeps falling on the ground. And finally she looks at it and it's a self-help book. And it's like, hey, this book is going to help you get what you want.
Well, and there's a little Easter egg thing, which is cool because this show has a lot of like small things that are in the background, but if you look really closely, so the book is sitting on her nightstand.
Right.
And then the camera like pulls off and follows her and then comes back to the nightstand because there's a coffee mug on the book.
She put her coffee on the book, yeah.
And then when she comes back, the coffee mug is on the side. So basically the book is inviting her to read it.
The book is pissed that she put the coffee on it.
The book's like, come on.
The book's like, read me, baby, read me. So she finally decides to take this book home and she reads it. And what it suggests that she does is to have a party. And the whole book, like page by page, is how to throw a great party.
Yeah.
So the whole episode is her getting ready for this party, and there's a lot of humor in this. And she calls it Sunset Cocktails with Patricia.
Yeah.
And interestingly enough, the RSVP that she puts out through email was July 1st, which was yesterday, or for people listening, it was last week. So I had to put something on our social media saying, have you RSVP'd yet for Sunset Cocktails? The other part is that Todd and I, after watching that episode, we decided to have Sunset Cocktails, and we invited our children and their friends, and we had a ball.
We did.
We played we played songs that either say sunset or cocktails. And what ended up happening is the whole night, the only two songs that played were Sunset Grill, which you're hearing, and Kokomo from the movie Cocktail.
Yeah.
So the whole night, those are the only two songs we heard. I tried to put other ones like the Pina Colada song, but it wasn't working out.
Just for the record, I am a sucker for playing a song ad nauseum and just annoying everybody around me.
I know.
There's something that brings me joy I just want to keep hearing this song.
Sweetie. Meanwhile, have another beer.
There you go. So yeah, I'm a sucker for that. By the way, just for the record, I said every song needs to be either have the word sunset or cocktails in it, in the title. And I did my search and I can only find Sunset Grill. So then I just played a song from the soundtrack off of Cocktail, breaking my own rule, and nobody's called me out on it.
Are you talking about Kokomo?
Kokomo does not say sunset or cocktail in the title.
But it's from the movie Cocktail.
I know, but it doesn't matter. My rule was the song title has to have either sunset or cocktail in it.
We weren't listening
and nobody
to
called me on it.
We didn't care about that rule.
I know.
We just liked hearing those two songs over
I know.
and over. So what happens in this episode, though, is you just have to watch it. I don't want to spoil it for you, but it turns out the book is not what she thought it was, and some really crazy stuff happens that is very reminiscent of The Wicker Man and Yellow Jackets and The Witch and just all sorts of movies that it's referencing. And to me, it was funny.
Yeah.
Like scary in parts.
It was great.
I would say look around and kind of see all the Easter eggs, like Todd said, is happening.
I think I have a funny part, but I don't know.
That's a different one.
One more. Once again, not funny to anybody who hasn't seen it, but just beautiful.
The one with when he says that's an animal bite, that was the sea hag.
Yeah.
Okay, so in episode 5, that's there's some obsessive drawing and everything that's very similar or reminiscent of the movie The Ring, plus like a teens in danger kind of slasher movie trope, like a bunch of movies that they referenced in episode 5. Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, Shutter Island, all sorts of scary movies. And again, not like literally.
Mm-hmm.
They're just like, those are movies that are similar in their story. Number 6, that's the historical flashback one, the one that Hamish Linklater's in, which Todd and I both, it's very similar to Robert Eggers' The Witch, which is a newer movie. Todd and I both liked it, but you kind of have to like slow down and watch. Do you know what I mean?
Talk about the historical episode.
Yes.
I loved it. That was one of my favorites.
See, and I, coming off of 4 and 5, I was
It's one of those episodes that they completely change
the vibe
of the show.
Yeah, they did.
And which is annoying unless it's good.
Yeah.
And this was good.
Yeah.
So that was my
okay. I like that you love that one. And then episode 7, it kind of continued. Like there's a little pull from episode 6. Some historical figures are also involved. But there's some like some like grave digging and all these kind of things that are like zombie-ish. So like Evil Dead is referenced in this. This is the episode where they say a line. They say we're going to need a different plan instead of we're going to need a bigger boat.
Right.
And then similar, there's a videotape which is similar to The Ring.
Yeah.
And then episode 8 is my second favorite episode with Patricia. This is where the boogeyman comes back.
Very good.
And it's a Michael Myers reference. And weirdly enough, funny at parts, but also terrifying.
Yeah.
And for some reason in this show, they use music in such an interesting way. Like in the Beach Reads episode, they use Rhythm of the Night, which is kind of like a... or no. Was it Rhythm of the Night? Which song was it? This is the Rhythm of the Night. Yeah, I think it was. And so it's like a song from the 90s, like early 90s when I was in college, you know, like just funny. It just,
well, they have one where it's Enya finishes.
And then that's Enya's in this episode where she's holding the gun on the guy and the whole time they're playing Caribbean Blue.
Yeah.
So it's weird.
Yeah.
But again, so good.
Sure.
Like I don't know who's in charge of that, but very cool. And then 9 and 10 are more about the legend of the island and kind of figuring that out.
Yeah, like let's close the loop on this season.
Yeah, like the 3 things I read is there's a headless statue, which is similar to the legend of Sleepy Hollow. Obviously, as I already said, the tapes that are similar to Lost Dharma Initiative tapes, and even the chair, where people are being put in historically, that's a reference to A Clockwork Orange, where people's eyes are being kept open. Yeah. So that, again, hopefully didn't give away too much of plot points because this is a mystery box show. And for people who don't know what that is, it's basically like Easter eggs and you have to notice what's happening and you have to figure out why things are happening. And I really enjoyed that.
It's the kind of show, like for me, and this, I don't know if anybody will relate to this. I'm sure some people will. I liked the show, and it left me wanting to know what I missed.
Right, I want to go
episode.
Back. Yeah.
So instead of rewatching the episode, I just listened to a podcast about it, and weirdly, I get almost as much enjoyment listening to them talk about an episode I just watched last night as I do watching the episode itself, which seems really weird.
I get really excited when podcasts that I love and respect, where I really like the people, I feel like they know what they're talking about, share the things that maybe, things that actors have been in before or why they did the show, or they have interviews with people who are working on the show. Like, Todd, just so you know, Chris from The Ringer, he interviewed Katie and Hero on The Watch.
Oh, nice.
And I haven't listened to it yet. I just noticed it. So we're going first name basis with these people now.
That's right.
But anyway, that's really my breakdown of Widow's Bay. I don't know if there's anything else you want to share.
No, just I guess one complaint I have is I feel like the show took a little too long to tie some of these pieces together, but maybe it's because I wasn't paying enough attention.
Okay.
But like I think we're halfway through. I'm like, these are all good episodes, but I don't understand all of how all the stuff fits together.
Well, I think something that was interesting, I hear what you're saying, but when you really recognize that in episode 3, Tom's in his office and there's a phone call from Patricia.
Yeah.
And there's also a phone call from the priest.
Yeah.
And he's listening to those phone calls, but he's not doing anything.
Yeah.
And then in episode 4, you see Patricia make that phone call.
Yeah.
You see the priest make the phone call. So they are piecing it together, but they're not like saying, oh, here's an answer.
Right.
You're just starting to see where everybody else was.
Well, and I have a feeling that had I been listening to the podcast all along, I would have
you would have
enjoyed it
right,
more.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right.
So anyways.
You would have been looking for things.
Yeah.
But anyway, we just are really getting enjoyment. And next week, we will be back with our summer blockbusters. I believe we are discussing Back to the Future.
That's right.
So we will be back to regular business. And thank you, everybody, for listening. And we hope you enjoy Widow's Bay. Sunset.